If you're in the market for a large family SUV and you don't care about having a BMW, Audi or Mercedes badge on the bonnet, then chances are the Skoda Kodiaq is already on your radar. And if it's not, well, quite frankly, it should be. So in today's CarGurus UK review, we are going to take a look at this new second generation Kodiaq to explain exactly why that is. Prices for this second generation Kodiaq start from just under £37,000. It is offered with a choice of petrol, diesel or plug-in hybrid powertrains and in two trim levels, SE and SEL. A racier looking Sportline model is also set to join the range. Go for a Kodiaq in entry-level SE specification or for the plug-in hybrid model and you get 5 seats as standard. Now the plug-in hybrid can only be had as 5 seats, but you can on petrol and diesel SE specification pay an extra £860 and upgrade to a 7-seat. Or you can go for an SEL model like this one, which comes with 7 seats as standard, as well as a bunch more equipment. Speaking of which, all Kodiaqs come with LED headlights, a 13-inch infotainment system, 10.25-inch digital dials, keyless stop-start, and a range of active safety systems, including blind spot detection and autonomous emergency braking. Upgrade to SEL and the alloy wheels grow from 18-inch to 19-inch, the cloth seats become a mixture of real and artificial leather, the driver's seat gets electric adjustment, and the LED headlights are upgraded to a more advanced matrix setup. Also with the SEL compared with the SE, you get keyless entry in addition to keyless go, and you get this powered tailgate. But do bear in mind that going from a 7-seat SE to an SEL with the same engine adds £2,700 to the car's list price, and in turn tips it over £40,000, which means you'll be paying luxury car tax. So in other words, you're going to have to really want the extra features of the SEL to justify that extra spend. Speaking of extra features, Skoda offers a few upgrades for the Kodiaq, including a space-saver spare wheel and an electric tow bar. Let's talk about boot space. This is a family SUV after all. That is going to be important to most buyers. So the biggest configuration you can have in terms of boot space is by going for a 5-seat petrol or diesel model, in which case you get 910 litres of boot space back here, which is absolutely massive, bigger than the biggest of estate cars. The plug-in hybrid loses some of that. You get 745 litres, which is still very big. And then this 7-seat model, if you fold these rearmost seats down like it is here, you get 845 litres. So it's still a huge space back here. Perhaps just as impressive in its own way is when you have these seats in place, and as you can see, it's very easy. Just pull these straps. There's still 330 litres of space back here. So actually it's still reasonably practical even with all the seats in place. It's one of the Kodiaq's best features. Other neat touches, so under this floor here you can store the parcel shelf. That's really easy to get in and out. Not always the case with these, sometimes it can be quite fiddly or there's no storage space at all, but Skoda's thought about that one. There's also some handy little hooks here to hang bags or shopping on. There's a power socket there, which you can obviously access from the third row as well. And if you need the ultimate in space, you just drop these seats here, and then there are levers which fold the second row in a 40-60 split. They don't go completely flat, but they're really not far off. There we go. So in the 2024 Skoda Kodiaq, how happy are your rear seat passengers going to be? Well, kind of depends on which of the rear seats they're in, to be honest. So, slide that out of the way. If you are in the second row and this is slid all the way back, you're going to be pretty happy in the middle seat. It's fairly wide, not too bad at all. You're going to be really happy if you're in one of these outer seats, because there's loads of room for your feet under the seat in front, lots of headroom too, very comfy. You've got some charging ports back here, a little pocket here for your phone. You can also adjust the angle of the backrest like so, and like we say, you can slide these and that allows you to trade space with the people in the third row. So how happy are they going to be? Well, let's have a look. I'm going to fold this down and out of the way so you can see when I gracefully climb into the back. So access here, as we did on the other side, just pull this lever here and that slides out of the way. So this is your space to get in, which is not too bad. It'll be easier if you're a kid. And then most things are easier when you're a kid, to be honest. Pop that up. So you can see my knees are quite high up. Headroom, I'm 5'11", just about okay. And then this really depends. So if the people in front of you are really mean and selfish and put the seat all the way, I don't fit. But if they're prepared to trade some legroom, say put it there, okay, so I'm in, I would probably be a bit more okay for a short journey. You could maybe ask them to move forward a little bit more, but yeah, it is tight for adults. A Kia Sorento, Hyundai Santa Fe do offer more room in the third row of seats. And now all I need to do is get out again. From the front seat of the Kodiaq, it's no surprise that it feels actually pretty much like a raised up version of the new Superb that we tested recently, which has lots of positives, a couple of negatives too. So on the positive front, everything is easy to use. So as an example of that, physical controls on the steering wheel and very simple shortcuts to access the lane departure warning and the speed limit assist, which are two functions that I personally find not terribly reliable in a lot of new cars. So turning them off easily is a massive plus point. So well done, Skoda there. The design is clean. There's some nice sort of materials flowing across the dash here, so that's good. These smart dials work well, so you press them to change the function and then you turn them as a normal dial. This middle one is also configurable, so it can do several different functions depending on how many times you press it. Digital dials, nice and clear and easy to read, and then this 13-inch touchscreen looks really smart. It's generally pretty easy to operate. Some of the functions are a bit buried, but generally it's pretty easy, and it includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. Now, negatives, not many. I think the main gripe, again, it's the same as a Superb, just some of the material quality I feel like is not quite as robust feeling as it was in the previous generation of Kodiaq, including on these dials, which I've said they work really well, but they do feel a little bit flimsy. No complaints about in-car storage, because the combination of two glove boxes, big door bins, a covered compartment for the armrest with two wireless phone chargers and another tray in the transmission tunnel means the Kodiaq is ready and waiting to accommodate your clutter. There's even a handy device to keep the touchscreen free from grubby fingerprints. As we said earlier, you can have the Kodiaq with a plug-in hybrid system that matches a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine with an electric motor and a 25.7 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery. So it has an EV range of around 60 miles, and it can rapid charge at up to 50 kilowatts. So that's actually a really good combination. Not many plug-in hybrids can rapid charge, so it could well be worth considering. Alternatively, there's a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine with a mild hybrid that has 150 horsepower. We've driven that in the new Superb and really liked it. Or there's a diesel, that's what this one is. It's a 2 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel, again 150 horsepower, it drives the front wheels, and like all Kodiaqs, it's an automatic. It's a 7-speed for the diesel, and for the petrol model, 7-speed DSG dual clutch automatic. On that note, I just pointed up here, that's because the gear selector has now moved to the column to free up a bit more space in the centre console here. Note that Skoda does offer the Kodiaq with 4-wheel drive, but only if you also opt for a more powerful 193 horsepower diesel engine, the combination of which pushes the price up by around £3,700 compared with the model we're testing. To me, that seems like a lot of extra cash for another 40 horsepower and 2 more driven wheels. And so for me, I think I'd only consider that specification of Kodiaq if I wanted to tow. And quite frankly, if I wanted to tow, I'd actually get a Kia Sorento instead, because it's better value for that specification of drivetrain. For most families though, I would have thought that front wheel drive will be just fine, and it suits the Kodiaq really well. Thinking of things that suit the Kodiaq, actually the diesel engine, they might not be very fashionable anymore, but it's pretty good in this car. It's got good mid-range pull, and although it's, you do hear it, particularly at idle and at low speeds, once you're cruising, and particularly at motorway speeds, it's super refined, it's really quiet. And being a diesel, of course, it's economical, so despite this being such a big car, we've still averaged over 46 miles per gallon in this test car. We've seen it go well over 50 miles per gallon at kind of like 50 mile an hour cruise type journeys, which means that with a full tank of diesel, you've got a range of well over 500 miles. outright acceleration isn't really a selling point for big family SUVs, but for what it's worth, the Kodiaq diesel will do the 0 to 62 mph dash in 9.8 seconds versus 9.9 seconds for the 1.5 litre petrol model. Overall though, this diesel engine suits the Kodiaq pretty well. It certainly pulls well enough. I've had 4 people and a dog in this car and absolutely no problems with performance. It's not fast, but it's not slow, so if I put my foot down now, picks up reasonably well. It's, you know, you do always know that it's a diesel, and you don't have like the coasting or the cylinder deactivation that you get with a 1.5 petrol, which also helps to make that feel quieter. In terms of handling, it's just very solid basically. So the steering responds well enough. It's not particularly sharp or quick. The body leans a little bit as you turn into a corner, but it's not disastrous. It's absolutely fine, really fit for purpose. I think the biggest disappointment I've found with the Kodiaq is the low speed ride, particularly over small bumps where you kind of get this thump, thump, thump. Bigger bumps it's okay, and once you're above 50 mile an hour, it's also okay. It's just that low speed ride. I think maybe having 18-inch wheels rather than the 19s might help, which is another reason to think about SE specification rather than SEL. But yeah, in terms of drawbacks with the Kodiaq, for me it's been that low speed ride. No such complaints about sound insulation because other than the start-up rattle of the diesel engine, the Kodiaq is a pretty refined car and copes admirably with the kind of long distances that the diesel powertrain is ideal for. All in all, the Kodiaq is a very sensible and solid performer. This second generation really does continue the trend of its predecessor. I think it probably makes most sense, certainly in SE specification, but upgraded to 7 seats and probably with the 1.5 litre petrol engine. In that case, it's going to cost you around £37,500, which seems like good value for such a roomy and well specified vehicle. No, it will not set your pulse racing with scintillating handling, and it will not wow you with its technology or a particularly plush interior, but well, let's face it, that's not really where Skoda plays in the market. Instead, it makes very good value, spacious, well-priced vehicles. Much like this one, in fact. Would you consider a Kodiaq, or do you need more spice from your 7-seater SUV? Let us know in the comments, and remember you can find loads of great deals on Kodiaqs and indeed lots of other cars over at cargurus.co.uk.